They charge through fields like tanks, rip through fences like paper, and cost the US billions every single year. But here's what's really wild. We already have the tools to stop them. Steel traps, poisons, government programs, you name it, we've tried it. And yet, wild boars are still winning. How? That's the question farmers in Texas have been asking for decades. And recently, they've started finding answers. Because while most people are busy setting traps, Texas farmers are setting traps that think. Traps designed to outsmart one of the most intelligent and destructive animals in North America. This video isn't just about hog hunting. It's about behavioral warfare, multi-billion-dollar mistakes, and a shocking truth. The way we've been trapping wild boars has been wrong this entire time. And what Texas farmers discovered could change everything. The boar invasion nobody saw coming. At first, they were just a nuisance. Small groups of wild pigs seen here and there, digging up the occasional garden or knocking down a fence. No one thought much of it. After all, what could a few pigs really do? But over the last few decades, wild boars have launched one of the most successful biological invasions in modern US history. Back in 1990, their population hovered around 2 million. Fast forward to 2019, and that number had more than quadrupled, hitting nearly 9 million. And it's not stopping. They've now spread across at least 39 states, leaving a trail of damage that grows every year. And here's the truly staggering part. These animals are causing more than $1.5 billion in damage annually, just in the United States. How? Start with their biology. Wild boars are not just aggressive, they're hyper-adaptable. A single sow, or female boar, can produce 2 litters per year, with anything from 4 to 12 piglets in each one. That's up to 24 new hogs a year, from just one. Now imagine what happens when thousands of those sows are reproducing across farms, forests, and suburbs. You don't just get a problem, you get a population explosion. But it's not just reproduction. Wild boars are highly intelligent. They remember where they've been trapped. They learn from other hogs' mistakes. And worst of all, they're night hunters, often active when most humans are asleep and least prepared to stop them. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, even in places they were never meant to be. And this isn't just an American issue. Across the globe, countries like Australia, Germany, and Spain are struggling with the exact same nightmare. In Australia, boars are wiping out native plants and contaminating water supplies. In Germany, they're digging up military bases and raiding residential garbage bins. In Spain, they're even wandering into urban areas, triggering emergency responses. What was once a rural nuisance has now become a national and global crisis. Still, many people underestimate the damage until they see it up close. Texas ranchers tell stories of waking up to entire acres of farmland destroyed overnight, fencing mangled beyond repair, and tractors left useless after hogs uprooted irrigation lines. For cattle farmers, it's even worse. Hogs not only tear through grazing land, but also compete for feed, spread disease, and sometimes even attack newborn calves. And yet, despite the scale of destruction, the methods being used to control them haven't evolved much in decades. Most traps, too small. Most baiting methods, too predictable. Most strategies, reactive instead of strategic. So why haven't we fixed this? Because until recently, few people realized that trapping wild boars isn't about hardware, it's about psychology. And that's where Texas farmers are rewriting the rulebook. But before we get into the groundbreaking methods they're using, you need to understand just how far the government has gone, and why, even with federal support, most efforts are still failing. Government panic and poison plans. As wild boars ripped across the South like an unstoppable force, the federal government was forced to take action. The USDA began funneling millions of dollars into hog control programs, launching cross-state collaborations and issuing aggressive new guidelines. Entire task forces were formed. Ranchers were given funding for trap equipment. Wildlife departments tried everything from high-tech surveillance to aerial shooting. But for all the effort, one fact kept emerging. The hogs were still winning. In 2024, things escalated even further. Facing growing political pressure and economic losses, Texas and Oklahoma approved the use of a controversial poison called kaput. Kaput contains warfarin, a blood thinner commonly used in rodent control. The idea was simple: lace bait with the chemical and eliminate hogs silently and quickly. But almost immediately, backlash followed. Environmentalists raised alarms about potential collateral damage. What if scavengers like hawks, eagles, or coyotes ate the poisoned carcasses? Could it contaminate local water supplies during heavy rains? What happens if a dog, cow, or even a child comes into contact with the bait? Even many farmers were hesitant, fearing lawsuits, bad press, or poisoned livestock. One rancher near Abilene put it plainly: "I'd rather lose half my crop than kill one of my neighbor's dogs." So despite government funding and approval, many in the field rejected the poison approach outright. They needed a solution that didn't involve chemical warfare, something precise, something repeatable, and something that wouldn't backfire. That's when more farmers began looking seriously at advanced trapping. Not the basic wire cages of the past, but industrial-scale, psychological setups engineered not just to catch hogs, but to outsmart them. And in Texas, those methods weren't just theory. They were working. The trap everyone's using wrong. Let's get one thing clear. Coral traps work. They're considered the gold standard in hog management, but only if they're used the right way. Unfortunately, that's where things go wrong for most people. The average setup? A medium-sized metal ring, maybe 10 feet wide with a single drop gate and a handful of corn scattered inside. Cheap fencing, weak support beams, and manual tripwires. It looks legit from a distance, but to a wild hog, it might as well have a blinking neon sign that says, "Danger." Wild hogs are not dumb animals. They remember where other hogs were trapped. They recognize patterns. They can even identify human scent and avoid areas that smell too clean. And if you trapped only a few hogs out of a sonder, a hog family group, the rest of the group gets the message. This place isn't safe. Don't come back. One of the biggest mistakes? Triggering the gate too early. If you're impatient and drop it when just a few hogs are inside, you've blown your chance. The others will scatter. And worse, they'll learn. Another common mistake? Trap design. Some farmers use lightweight materials, plastic mesh, chicken wire, zip ties, to build the walls. But hogs are powerful. They've been known to crash through fences, flip troughs, and even dig under enclosures. Unless your trap is built like a fortress, it's useless. And every failure teaches the hogs what to avoid next time. But in Texas, farmers took a different approach. They didn't just ask, "How do I trap a hog?" They asked, "How do I trap every hog in the group and make sure none of them escape or learn anything?" That's where the real magic began. The Texas method that changed everything. The real breakthrough wasn't about building traps. It was about building systems. The smartest farmers in Texas started using oversized steel corral traps, 30 to 40 feet wide, sometimes larger. These weren't cages, they were arenas. Here's why size matters. Hogs are social animals. They feed and move in groups. If your trap can only fit a few hogs, the rest will stay outside watching. And if they see their family get caught, they're gone. By using large corrals, farmers were able to let the entire sonder enter at once. That's where the remote-triggered gates came in. These gates aren't tripped by accident or stepped on. They're manually dropped by the farmer, usually through a mobile app or live camera feed. This allows total control. Only once 80% or more of the hogs are inside does the farmer trigger the gate. That means fewer stragglers, no warning signals, and maximum impact. And because these traps are made of reinforced steel, hogs can't chew through them, knock them over, or dig underneath. One farmer near Waco reported catching 31 hogs in a single drop and 0 escapes. What's more impressive? Those traps never scared off future groups. Why? Because of one secret weapon: trap psychology. Location is everything. You could have the best trap in the world, 10-foot tall walls, remote gates, high-def cameras, but if you put it in the wrong spot, you might catch nothing. According to researchers at Texas A&M University, trap placement is the most overlooked and most critical factor in wild hog control. These animals aren't just wandering aimlessly. They follow routes, patterns, habits. The smartest trappers know how to spot these invisible trails like a tracker in the wild. So where do hogs go? Almost always water. Creeks, rivers, ponds, lowland marshes. These are wild pig magnets. Not only do they drink and bathe there, but those areas often offer cover, mud for wallowing, and plenty of vegetation for foraging. Another key: food access points. Wild boars love corn, peanuts, sweet potatoes, and other crops. So if there's a field nearby, they're probably scouting it at night. Experienced farmers don't guess, they watch. They walk the land, look for rooted soil, hoof prints, tree rubs, or even broken fencing. Many use trail cams to confirm movement over several days before choosing a site. One farmer near College Station used trail cams to discover a group of 40 hogs passing through a dried creek bed each night, just after 1 a.m. He set up a trap right on the path, pre-baited for 5 days, and on the 6th night, captured 28 hogs in a single drop. And here's the real kicker. If he had moved the trap 100 feet in either direction, he likely would have caught none. That's how precise this process is. So if your trap isn't working, don't blame the trap. Blame the map. The bait science most people miss. You've probably heard that corn is the go-to bait. And it's true, feral hogs love it. But just throwing down dry kernels won't cut it. Why? Because corn's everywhere, and wild boars are smarter than we give them credit for. They've learned to associate dry scattered corn with traps, human scent, and danger. That's where fermentation comes in. Smart trappers soak corn in water for about 7 days, letting it ferment until it smells, well, absolutely awful. To a human, it's gag-worthy, but to a hog, it's heaven. That sour, fermented scent travels further through the air, masks human odors, and signals a safe, rotting food source. Exactly what wild hogs are drawn to. But farmers don't stop at corn. In the summer months, they'll add juicy fruits like watermelon, peaches, or apples. Why? Because in extreme heat, wild hogs become dehydrated. They start hunting for moisture-rich foods. And a pile of sweet-smelling, water-packed fruit? It's like a 5-star buffet. Others go the protein route, using high-calorie specialty baits to lure in large males who may avoid traditional corn. The real trick, though, is in pre-baiting. This means placing bait inside the open trap for 3 to 7 days, letting hogs come and go without triggering the gate. It's all about building trust. Boars begin to view the trap as just another part of the landscape, a safe zone, a feeding station. Then and only then does the farmer strike. According to the USDA, pre-baiting can increase success by 60% or more. That's a huge difference. It's not just about what you feed them. It's about how comfortable they feel eating it. The psychology of the trap. Here's something most people don't realize. Trapping wild boars is psychological warfare. These animals aren't mindless beasts. They're cautious, observant, and have memory. And if something feels off, they're out. So how do you trick an animal that learns? You play the long game. Texas farmers discovered that hogs are primarily nocturnal, with activity peaking between 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. That means traps should be set during those hours, but never triggered too soon. In the first few nights, the trap gate stays open. Hogs are free to enter and exit. Nothing happens. No noise, no surprises. This is crucial. The trap becomes part of their routine. They stop fearing it. Then the farmer watches, often through trail cams or live feeds. Once they confirm that 80% or more of the sonder enters the trap every night, they prepare to close the gate. That's the golden number, 80%. Anything less and the risk is too high. If you trap just a few hogs early, the others will scatter and won't come back. One slip-up can cost you months of progress. There's even a name for this in trapping circles, educating the hogs. It means the animals have learned to recognize and avoid a trap setup, possibly for life. That's why patience is more valuable than gear, and why the best trappers aren't hunters, they're strategists. Rookie mistakes that ruin everything. You've got the trap, you've got the bait, you've got the camera feed, you're ready to strike, but then you trigger too early. It happens more often than you'd think. A few hogs wander in, the farmer gets excited and drops the gate. They catch 4 or maybe 5. But here's the thing, those 4 hogs were just the tip of the sonder. The others? They were watching, listening, and now they're gone, and they're not coming back. That one mistake just educated the entire group. From that moment forward, they'll treat every future trap with suspicion. Even if you move it, even if you rebait it. That one early trigger may have ruined your chances for months. Another killer mistake? Leaving hogs inside the trap too long. Trapped hogs don't go quietly. They scream, squeal, thrash, and send out distress calls that travel long distances. Other hogs hear it and instantly mark the area as dangerous. If you don't collect trapped hogs quickly, you're not just missing your next catch, you're poisoning the area with fear. That's why top-level trappers have systems in place to retrieve animals immediately, often within an hour or 2 of capture. They also rotate trap locations every few months. Why? Because wild boars have long memories. If they've seen a trap in one area, they'll avoid that spot. even after the trap is gone. By changing locations, trappers stay unpredictable, and unpredictability is key. Another mistake? Using the wrong gate style. Manual gates trip too early or malfunction under pressure. Smart trappers use remote-triggered gates, allowing full control over timing and ensuring maximum catch rates. Finally, there's one more silent killer: impatience. Rushing the process, skipping pre-baiting, assuming a few hogs is good enough, it all leads to failure. Because when it comes to wild hog control, success isn't about luck. It's about strategy, timing, and treating this like the long game it is. And Texas farmers? They've learned that the only way to win is to think like the enemy. Outsmarting the beast. The wild boar crisis isn't going away. It's growing fast. With populations exploding across North America and beyond, traditional methods simply aren't enough. Poison? Too risky. Manual traps? Too outdated. Government programs? Too slow. But Texas farmers have shown that with the right techniques, results are not only possible, they're game-changing. Oversized corral traps, remote-triggered gates, fermented bait, pre-baiting, strategic timing, behavioral targeting. These aren't just tools, they're part of a full-scale system designed not to fight wild hogs, but to outsmart them. And it works. One farmer caught over 30 hogs in a single night. Another reduced field damage by 90% in under 2 weeks. Across the state, landowners are reporting results that seemed impossible just a few years ago. But the battle is far from over, because for every sonder caught, another one is coming. Wild boars aren't just prolific, they're evolving. And the only way to keep up is to stay one step ahead. So what about you? Have you or someone you know used these tactics? Have you found a method that works even better? Or maybe one that failed completely? Drop your story in the comments. Let's build a community of smart trappers, not just lucky ones. And if you found this video helpful, do one thing: hit that subscribe button. Because next time, we're diving into an even more controversial method, one that some experts call the nuclear option. You'll want to see this. Until then, stay sharp, stay strategic, and never underestimate the enemy.